come with the Lord,
Bill, you're doing more sometimes than reporting the news. 11 of your 14 talking points over a 2-week period were on Jeremiah Wright, even when it was no longer newsworthy. As I mentioned before, you'll have a Fox News report where the Lakers win the first round of the playoffs, and we'll have Jeremiah Wright's video reels going underneath it. Bill, you're doing more sometimes than reporting the news. 11 of your 14 talking points over a 2-week period were on Jeremiah Wright, even when it was no longer newsworthy. As I mentioned before, you'll have a Fox News report where the Lakers win the first round of the playoffs, and we'll have Jeremiah Wright's video reels going underneath it.
Joining us from Philadelphia, Dr. Marc Lamont Hill, who teaches at Temple University, and from Chicago, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, the author of the brand new book, April 4th, 1968, Martin Luther King Jr.'s Death and How It Changed America. 2 PhDs against me. Place your bets now. All right, Dr. Dyson. Did McCain looks to me like he did the right thing. He doesn't like the ad. He knows it's divisive, and he knows it's kind of exploitative in a way, and says, look, we asked him to stop. Should he do anything more?
Well, I think, first of all, he's to be applauded for acknowledging that the ad is divisive, that it's racially inflammatory, and that it doesn't deal with the kind of politics that he thinks are edifying in America. So I think he's absolutely right to do so. So we should applaud him. Number two, he did make a forthright public statement that it is the case that it is inflammatory and that they should pull it down. However, he said, I can't make them do it. Now, the question is, if he is the presumptive nominee of the party and he has that kind of influence and pull, if he can't even get his own party to adhere to his vision to forge unity, then what argument does that make for his ability to urge Americans?
We talked on the radio today with the lady you saw in the ad, Dr. Hill, and Miss Luz. And she said, look, we like McCain and we support him, but we're not pulling the ad. We think it's a good ad. We think it puts our opponents for the gubernatorial nomination on the defensive, and we're not pulling it. And John McCain, as a senator of the United States, can't make us. So where else do you go? What else do you do?
Well, technically, he can't make them. But again, as Professor Dyson so accurately put it, he's the steward of this.
Yeah, but so what? If the woman doesn't want to do it and she's the head of the GOP, she's not going to do it.
And she's not. And I think that's a very dangerous and really disappointing move. But what I'd also like to add is that I'm not convinced that John McCain wants to see it go away. He has the extraordinary privilege of denouncing the ad and making it seem like he's above the fray at the very same time that Barack Obama is being dragged into the mud. And even if they ultimately go with what he says and actually take it off the air, which I think they will, it'll be on YouTube. It's on Fox News for the next 2 weeks, I'm sure.
I don't think you're going to take it off the air. But look.
No, but I'm saying what I'm saying is that's going to happen. It's a quintessentially Republican strategy to throw rocks and hide their hands, and I think that's what's happening here.
I think the Democrats are pretty good at it as well.
Yeah, but tonight we're talking about the Republicans, so that's
okay. But look. You say you don't think he wants it off the air. Do you read minds now? I mean, I know you're a very talented man in a lot of different areas. And now, are you Kreskin now, or I mean, how can you make a statement like that?
Yeah, I think. Well, let me.
No. Dr. Hill made a statement. Dr. Dyson, let him defend himself.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Well, I think it's historically the Republican Party has always done this, and Democrats have as well. I mean, we saw this even with Hillary Clinton just a few months ago, where Bill Clinton will make a comment comparing Barack Obama to Jesse Jackson, and then when people identify it rightly so as a racialized comment, they say, oh my God, why are we talking about race? Because they understand that will stoke.
I don't think you can apply that to John McCain this specifically.
Well, this is.
I just think you're making a mistake. It's not fair to do that. Now, Dr. Dyson. No. When you have a 97...
Let me jump in and say, let me just say what he's saying very quickly. But the point is this, plausible deniability on the racial front. In other words, you put forth a racial argument, you do it in a subterranean fashion. It's very inferential. It's not explicitly stated,
not doing
but it's an inference.
No,
McCain, here's the point. But McCain certainly is being advantaged by the fact that he can deny it in public, and I believe he means it, but at the same time, he's able to take advantage. I want to take it one step further.
Life, liberty, and pursuit of
regardless of whether that's his intent or not, he's benefiting from the kind of racialists out there who want to see that go forth.
That might be true and it might not be true. Let's go with the 97% of black Pennsylvanians who voted for Barack Obama. Now, obviously, Dr. Dyson, that's a racial vote, is it not?
No, it's a vote for a candidate that they think is a
97%? There's no race component in that?
Hold on. When Americans could only vote for white people, was that a racial vote? When they were making votes for people, when black people couldn't vote in this country, and white people voted 100%?
I would say they had to vote for white people, so there'd be a racial component. You're right on that. But 97%?
What I'm saying to you, Well, racist versus racial is different. Racist infers that there is a particularly malicious comment.
Absolutely.
Or,
I'm saying, is there a racial component?
There.
Is there a
of course
racial
it'd be
component?
Racial. It's racial because we're talking about race, because of Barack Obama's a black man, and you're talking about black people supporting. So there's a racial component, but it doesn't mean that black people will vote. Black people would not vote for Clarence Thomas, and certainly wouldn't have voted perhaps for Condoleezza Rice. So it's not that race determines the content of their vote. It's that in this case, African-American people have glommed onto, or at least supported, a man that they feel represents their interests.
Exactly.
But it's a pretty big monolithic deal.
Right.
Now, Dr. Hill, my last
one.
question for you is this. Our pal, Reverend Wright, who callers seem to think that I'm a villain because I actually am reporting on this man. I'm not going to get that. But he's now going on Bill Moyers tomorrow for a kissy face interview. We have a little transcript of it, and it's pretty funny. But of course I'm going to report on this on Monday. Of course I am. And Reverend Wright is not doing his former congregant any favors by racing around, just bringing attention back to Reverend Wright, is he?
Well, it's certainly not advantageous for Barack Obama to have Jeremiah Wright in the news. However, Bill, you're doing more sometimes than reporting the news. 11 of your 14 talking points over a 2-week period were on Jeremiah Wright, even when it was no longer newsworthy. As I mentioned before, you'll have a Fox News report where the Lakers win the first round of the playoffs, and we'll have Jeremiah Wright's video reels going underneath it. There's a certain way in which we are making a spectacle out of this unnecessarily, and that is undermining Obama's campaign more than Jeremiah Wright or Barack himself.
I disagree, obviously, make the editorial decisions here, because I think the President of the United States has to be known, and we don't know Barack Obama, Dr. Dyson, and that's the essence of my reporting. We don't know who Barack Obama is, and this guy is a very explosive guy. I'll give you the last word.
Well, here's the point. People say that Jeremiah Wright and Obama are opposed on King. Jeremiah Wright represents Martin Luther King Jr. from 1965 on, when King said that America was the greatest purveyor of violence in the world today, and the sermon in his pocket before he was murdered, should he have lived to deliver it the next Sunday, was why America may go to hell. Dr. King spoke to black people in a way he didn't speak to mainstream America. Jeremiah Wright represents that. We need Obama to talk about where we need to go. Jeremiah Wright, what we have to overcome to get there.
Amen.